Welcome everybody to the Skull Hunter Podcast. This podcast is brought to you by Anchor. Anchor is an all-in-one platform that you need to start your podcast today. You need a hosting for your podcast. What are you waiting for? Anchor is there to solve your problems. Speaking of problems, we got the boys with me. We got little problem 1, Joseph, and little problem 2, Charles. Airsoft.
Nerf.
Damn it. How are my boys doing? Joseph, how are you doing?
Not too bad. How are you doing? Problem number 3. Ha, gotcha.
I was most unenthusiastic, like, got you, man. Got you. Bro, problem number 3 is doing good. We did get news from the office deep down below. Dad might be coming back from milk soon. We did hear. We might be I hope he comes back with like a big thing of fucking milk. I really hope James come back holding like a big milk jug, be like, I came back, guys. I hope, James, if you're watching this, I hope you come back with some milk. But yeah, doing good. Joseph, how was your week? Anything fun happen?
Got to go out this weekend with the missus. Still doing some freelancer work. I had some work coming in today. I can't talk about what kind of work it is because the more they learn about me, the more likely they'll fire me. But other than that, I'm happy to say that I don't have much to talk about, which is, I know that sounds kind of interesting, but it's like, you know, I've had a lot of turmoil last little bit, and it's mostly calmed down. Sorted out my finances, work's coming in, still looking for more, but yeah, it's a happy time for me, or
good
relative to, like, you know, how times have been in the past. But yeah, lately I've just been feeling really good. Definitely grateful to have you guys around, just to be able to check in on a week-to-week basis, and you know, have somebody to bounce my ideas off of, and so on and so forth. So, you know, I'm at a point now where I don't regret many of the choices that I made the last few years, because sometimes I'll be in that state where I'm like, God, that was a mistake, and so was that, and so was that, and so was that. But now I'm starting to understand why things have been going the way they do. So
yeah, that's definitely good. The fact that you kind of are like, you know, I don't regret nothing. I don't regret anything now, because like you said, we all have those times where when you make a big step or something, you're like, did I fuck up? There's still days I look at Amazon going, I was making 5 figures, 30,000 a year. Like, I mean, I was making all right. Did I really just fuck it up switching to gaming? And I mean, I still think about that, especially when I go live for 3 hours and then my one viewer is myself. You know, so that's why you keep your view count off, folks. A little tip there for you. Charles, how was your week?
My week's been pretty good. I got that, I already showed you guys the Funko Pop figure I got that I really was excited to get from GameStop, but I also still have to figure the other whole thing was setting up that mic you got me joined, and I got a couple more AEW figures to add to my small but growing collection of the damn thing, so I want to try and get all of them.
Nice.
I still have to make a video on these.
Right on. Now, we're going to focus on getting him a webcam next. That's going to be the next step, but we really need him to figure out like a little setup for him so we can have his microphone, we can have a decent webcam.
I know I'm in the minority opinion, but I wanted to see us get Charles gear that actually diminishes his audio and video quality
I
to the point where
so
it's like
bad.
120p.
I thought about it like so bad, like literally. So we were talking about that. I think we talked about it off camera, but we were talking about this and like making a new setup for like how our layout looks and doing like gaming monitors and stuff. I literally found the perfect image of like an old ass monitor / computer. I was like, oh, I want to use that for Charles so bad. And then you can actually edit to where there's just lines on the screen going by constantly. At like a 24 refresh rate. I was like, oh, that would be great. And it would just slowly diminish its quality. But we also do an audio and video podcast. Hint, anywhere you can find us at Skull Hunter Podcast. That's where we are. We do both, so we need decent quality still. This is not necessary for a podcast. This isn't necessary for a podcast. But Anchor gets you started immediately. No plug for Anchor there. And then, so my week's actually been pretty interesting. So as a gamer, I don't want to ever fall into typical gaming category. So one thing I do is I work out a lot. When I started my workout journey, I was almost 300 pounds. Now I'm down to 100 or 220, 224.
Ooh, wow.
So I lost 80 pounds throughout my workout journey. And at the beginning of the year, I kind of slacked a lot on dieting, on exercising, and stuff like that. Got back into it really later on through the year. And one thing I did to purposely force myself to do, and it's in the room, I got a bike. It's definitely was bought just for the podcast and for tax write-off. There it is. There's the bike. I definitely know the purpose why this is in here, other than to show the IRS that I bought it for video. But the reason,
I think you can vlog and record yourself on the go.
yeah, I can, dude. I'm thinking about starting a gaming stream and literally have my phone connected to the wireless OBS. Literally just riding a bike. Hey guys, what's up? Pay a cop to just roll behind me the whole time. Red and blues going like, guys, I'm not gonna make it to the stream today. We got I might have hopped the liquor store. I don't know. GTA in real life.
And have him arrest you again.
Nah, he's in Arkansas. He's like, and now he's an EMT. Man, he's saving people's lives and shit. It's not as fun anymore. Now he's like, I save people's lives for a living. I'm like, yeah, I make people's lives happy. Yeah, like what the fuck? And now he got a bike too. He's trying to one up me. So then I started calling him Doughy, and I started sitting there saying that I'm gonna be the fittest one in the family. And I found a 6-pack ab shirt that I can get that looks kind of realistic. It's like $200. I want to get it and just take a photo of it one day and send it to him, being like, I said I was gonna be a fit one in the family. It just shows me with a 6-pack abs. And maybe he'll know it's fake. Maybe he won't. I hope he doesn't. I'll keep everyone updated though. But biggest thing is I'm a gamer and I work out, and I make sure to take some time for that in the morning. That's why I don't stream late at night.
I still wonder, thinking if Justin's office got like any phone calls because people would drive by and see him arresting you on the side of the road in that one video.
No, so we actually, the video you're talking about is no longer public on the channel, but that was one of the ones I took unlisted. But what we ended up actually doing for that one is we went to our local horse arena that we used to run horses and do events and stuff there. And we actually went there because we knew it was private. No one could see anything. And to this...
Say horse?
Yeah, we had horses.
Okay, well, I am sorry. I heard the wrong word.
Oh man, that was
arena.
We get the ladies and some
who's
guys
coming first. Or...
Oh, there's a lot of guys coming first. But yeah, it was we go to a little private area to do our stuff at. It's just better that way. And less awkwardness of us filming. It was the second thing I ever got to direct in my life. And that's when I learned I really want to be a director, and I also realized fuck that as well. So it's like a mixed feelings. Like, it's cool being able to lead people to do one thing, and then it's like you're there and you get to be in that moment. But if you're participating in it and also back behind the scenes looking over footage, being like, okay, no, that didn't work. You really don't want to redo it again. You really don't want to be like, okay, I just got slammed to the ground, slammed in the window, and it's like, okay, cool, get back up. I'm looking at the footage going, we gotta redo. We redid that one scene where I got slammed on the ground like 3 times, and then after the 3rd time I went, you know what, we'll make it work. We'll make it work. We'll get something to work out of it.
How many takes does it take to get the whole video put together?
Honestly, not as much as you would think. Not as much as you would think, but that what kind of started me wanting to do a little bit of production, like actually try to film more stuff in the future. I've reached out to a bunch of artists and stuff like that to do music videos for them, totally free because I don't really give a fuck. And some of them kindly said no, but we still message each other on Instagram from time to time, so we follow each other, so it's kind of a little cool experience. But yeah, so the biggest purpose of the week is do workout. Don't be fat. You choose if you're fat.
Yeah, and like don't worry about the gains either. It's just the mental benefit is more important than the physical benefit. Yeah, like, you'll get a physical benefit, of course, but like I've never looked like my body has never looked that good. But walking around more and doing weights. Jen and I, we have some shared rooms in our apartment, and we'll play Just Dance for like 30 minutes. and I strap weights to my arms and my legs, so I'm encumbered by an extra 20 pounds when I do it. So I do make it a little bit more challenging on myself. But that stuff, it does add up. It makes a huge difference.
yeah.
So yeah, even if you're not like losing the pounds you might want to lose, like you really need it for just for releasing chemicals. There's a fella on TikTok. I just started following him yesterday. He did this excellent breakdown of like the 4 chemicals that you need in your head in order to like feel happy. Is it really the cinematic fly? Yeah, it's that guy, the cinematic fly on TikTok. Like he'll break down like what are the key things you need to actually be happy. People think happiness is just this intangible thing that if you're lucky you'll get it, but really it's actually just like having the right fluids in your brain and not having the wrong fluids in your brain.
I was just watching something funny on YouTube like I did a couple days ago, and I literally see this one YouTube short. This guy's being filmed talking, and while he's like at like somewhere where apparently snowboarders are, because this one dude just comes flying past the screen. The dude screaming, he can't slow down. Then another guy just comes flying by behind the first guy, screaming what sounds like he's saying Earl. And the first time I was just freaking laughing. The hardest I've ever laughed, and figure besides the time Jordan freaking lost his shit the last time I did one of these.
Never happened. It never happened, guys. I don't know what he's talking about. No one lost their shit. Everyone was cool. We're all fine.
Well, I mean, I'll add something that did happen. Like Jen and I, we watched the new Matrix movie. Ooh. And I once I realized that it was kind of like a self-parody, like they were taking the piss out of themselves and Warner Brothers. I started cracking up constantly. And there's one scene with Keanu Reeves, like a lot of people found his acting to be rather unusual in that scene. We were dying of laughter. It was so funny. So yeah, stuff like that. It goes a long way.
Yeah,
long way.
And with like clearing your head, also like. I will say this, and you can look up anything. You can even Google it, and it will be the first thing that pops up. Biking actually kind of helps clear your mind, too. It just kind of gets you that peace of mind. And you could do at-home bikes, but, like, I sat there, and I've been biking for only 2 days now. And just the fact I do it so early in the morning, I literally get up, I go biking. I've already made it through my fast. I've already sat there, and I don't even drink coffee. And when I just get up, I get dressed, I get on the bike, and I'm awake. I'm up. I'm clear head. I get back home, and I start a pot of coffee. I come back to the office, immediately start working. That thing goes off. I totally don't even need it. But it's just a massive like. And it was even the same when I went on runs, walks. So highly recommend like this summer. I'm not saying you need to get a 6-pack, but do your body a favor and like go outside and go on a walk, like a little clear mind. Maybe get some headphones, listen to music. You don't have to be one of those crazy people that's like, I need the nature around me. You just listen to death metal, go on a walk. Just don't act upon the death metal, but just do you. Speaking of doing you. There's a gamer among us who I'm not as good as James with the transitions, especially just offhand. But Joseph, you were talking about like a Street Fighter kind of game, and that they're making a movie. We're kind of getting on the movie side, what's going on there?
Streets of Rage.
Streets of Rage. That's what no joke. I was trying not to ruin it. I went, it was Streets, like Backstreet. Nope. Yeah. So yeah, what's going on there?
In Japan, it's called Bare Knuckle, and well, once again, the Japanese name is kind of more appropriate because although Streets of Rage does take place on the streets, many times it also takes place in like factories. And like stuff that's not a street. So it's going back to my thing with how Biohazard just makes more sense than Resident Evil. But anyways, so a lot of Streets of Rage fans probably already know this, but we're just gonna get it out here anyways. On the heels of its success with Paramount's Sonic the Hedgehog films, Sega has another franchise come to the big screen with the beat-em-up game Streets of Rage getting the film treatment. Sources tell Deadline. Derek Kolstad, who created the John Wick action franchise and penned the Bob Odenkirk action near Nobody, wrote the script on spec. So I think given the last couple of episodes, especially when we're talking about Halo, I think it's safe to say that fans can feel a certain amount of anxiety and trepidation when they see their property is going to get a movie treatment or a TV treatment or even a comic book can like get people up in arms. I think for Streets of Rage fans, this is probably the best news they could have hoped for, because the John Wick series, Airsoft.
Nerf.
Ah, man.
Man, I didn't get the say.
So
Nerf.
the John Wick series is excellent for a number of reasons. It basically makes violence into an art form. There's a lot of choreography. There's a lot of just the simple sensation of sound and music. Visually, it's a great series too. They try to find unique locations to have events take place. And so the idea that a lot of the John Wick influence is going to go into this is a pretty promising sign. So I'm not as like, antsy about this as I was when we heard about the Mario movie, which we've heard surprisingly little about to now. And I don't know if like maybe we'll hear something about it at E3. I think. Oh, actually, no, we're not going to do that, right?
No,
'Cause E3 's
E3
not
is
happening.
canceled
Okay.
everywhere.
Yeah, so
still waiting.
maybe the Nintendo Direct will still do a thing. Sorry, Charles, what was that?
I'm still waiting for something on the Borderlands movie because we haven't heard anything about that. But we
Yeah.
did hear about how they're making another Tales from the Borderlands game, though.
Yeah.
So here's a couple of things that like I know you guys aren't Streets of Rage fans, so this is really for the fans. I just wanted to share some of the ideas that I would do for a Streets of Rage movie in the hopes that they will make their way into the movie. Unrealistic hopes, but I'd rather get them out of my system anyways.
Yeah.
So one of the things that a lot of people think about that game is that the two main characters, Axel, the guy, Blaze, the girl, they've been the most consistent characters in all 4 iterations. And Axel tends to be perceived as the main character because, he's the dude. But in reality, Blaze is the main character because she's the one that's always like keeping her eyes out on what's happening in the city, it's the same city, Wood Oak City, always takes place there. And she's the one that rallies people whenever shit hits the fan. So she's kind of the protagonist in the movie. So the way I would frame the plot is that it's a love story where Axel is in love with Blaze, but Blaze is in love with the city. And she doesn't make time for anybody else. She's always making times for the city and becomes like an obsession for her. And so he's somewhat tragically, like he tries to stand at her side and help her and, wants to protect her. But at the same time, he can't get over the fact that she's just not going to be there for him in that same way. And so it's a lot about like a lot of the issues that guys face and girls face with miscommunication and our intentions with one another. So that's one way that I would like wrap the story around. Visually, I'm pretty sure that they know what they're doing. But one thing that's really important about Streets of Rage is that it's a gritty setting, but it doesn't look gritty. It looks neon painted, neon coated. There's a lot of bright lights. There's a lot of flashiness to this. Same with the music too. The music is probably more important than anything. The music is the most important part. In the 4th game, they made it like context based, where as you would go through the level, the music would adjust based on what was going on. And I imagine that's what they're going to do in the movie. But to make the fans happy, what I would recommend is recreate one level from part 2, which is the theme park level. The fans will know which one I'm talking about. If they just like do that one exactly the way it plays out, maybe even with the same camera angles, the fans will walk away happy.
Okay.
Here's a fun one. So usually in beat 'em ups, you're fighting the same goons pretty often. They look the same, and obviously they're not going to go through the trouble of like drawing a new goon every time you pummel one, because that's hundreds and hundreds of goons that they'd have to draw.
Just copy
So
and
the
paste.
goons end up looking the same. Now, there's actually a fun way to justify that in context. So one of the jobbers of Streets of Rage are called Galaxias, although I prefer to call them Garcias, because that's what they were called in part 3, and that was the first game I played in this series. And they all wear the same coat, same muscle definition, same haircut. So I thought it'd be pretty funny if this is actually like a purpose thing, or like this is done on purpose, where the gangs will actually force everybody to look the same. That way they can't get arrested, because either you'd have to arrest like 1,000 people all at once, or they're all just like used to blend in with one another. So like they have like their own ID cards so they can identify each other amongst
I'm
one another.
imagining like a Grease ordeal, like them over there just like all dressed in like the leather, the white t-shirt, the blue jeans, and it's like everyone looks exactly like that.
Yeah.
Everyone looks like John Travolta, and it's like, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, exactly.
I think
'Cause-
that could be
and this
funny.
is the fun thing that you can do is like these things that we make fun of as tropes in game design can still be things that could be justified if you use your imagination. And so rather than just like ignore that as part of the game, try to figure out some way to embrace it and celebrate the fact that you pummel somebody that looks like 1,000 other people that you've pummeled. If you make it part of the story, it's more fun. There's another one where like in part 2, characters can start like basically they have magic powers. They can shoot little bits of energy, or they do like a fire punch. But whenever you do that, you take damage. So what I would do to justify that is that the characters have to understand that every time you use one of these abilities, you're cutting your life expectancy a little bit shorter. So it adds a little bit of like empathy whenever characters are forced to do one of their abilities. So that's one thing that I would add to that. And then. Sorry, I wrote down notes for these because I'm really passionate about this series.
Yeah.
So just to wrap the plot around, and by the way, the script was written, so I don't know how much like the smaller things might make it in. I don't know what they were planning for the big plot, but instead of like them basing it around one of the games in the series, I would just tell it on anthology movie where they just do all of the movies in one go, and so they can see the progression of Axel and Blaze's relationship from like the first one where they get to know each other to the second one where Blaze has kind of like embraced her persona and is now kind of like a different character. Part 3 where they save the world from a nuclear warhead. Yes, that's actually what happens in part 3. To part 4 where they're starting to get a little bit older and the new people are starting to take over. So while the new people are doing more of like the heavy lifting, they're kind of more like starting to come to terms with the fact that they don't have it together as much as they used to. And then the movie would end with a new threat arising, and Blaze calls Axel to come help. He meets up with her, but then they look at the TV and the news broadcast reveals that like hundreds of new people who dress up like Axel, who dress up like Blaze, who dress up like the other characters, started forming their own gangs. And now you have like hundreds of heroes taken to the street to beat the piss out of all of these goons. And basically like the syndicate can't do anything now because they're outnumbered and outpowered. And so the two of them realize, well, actually, I guess we can actually retire some the kids. They're gonna carry on the torch for us, and then they fuck like rabbits.
I'm in. I'm interested right there. You talk about people fucking like rabbits.
Yeah,
I'm in.
Yeah, like okay, at long last, like the two of them realize they were made for each other, which is probably literal because when you're designing the characters, you kind of design it like that way. So yeah, nonetheless, like I think that they'll do a good job. I definitely think they'll get the fights right. They combine the music, combine the visuals, combine the choreography that they're known for. I think it would still be pretty good, but yeah, I still hope that what I said can be of use to somebody. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
It was a pleasure being here. I learned a lot. I learned that hopefully in the end I can see them fucking like rabbits.
Fingers crossed. If there's any takeaway, that's
you know what? That's what I'm hoping for. Like that right there will get me to watch the movie. Whenever when is this supposed to come out, do you know?
I don't think there's any
there might not be an actual date yet.
Yeah, like nah, this is still like early phase. So I don't think we'll even hear about it until late 2023.
Okay. Hopefully this is what I'm hoping for you and the fan base is I'm hoping that they do a Doom situation. Like whenever they did the Doom movie, that was like the first time you've ever seen a movie truly use the game before it to its advantage. Being like, because that's the end scene, spoilers alert for whoever hasn't seen the Doom movie, is towards the end when The Rock is truly the bad one and you have the one guy trying to survive and make it out. It goes literally in first person mode, just like Doom, and it actually like the camera moves around just like the old Doom games. They did such a good job. Like it's amazing.
It's kind of frightening.
Yeah, like
to think like wow, that's what it would look like if I were in that situation. Yeah, no, that sequence is very unsettling, and I love it for it.
I love it too, but I want more movies to do that. Like Halo, you kind of see them trying to do it in like Halo, where it's like you see the Master Chief's head, but it's not gonna be the same. and unfortunately would not be the same. But for a game like you're talking, like maybe there's like a scene or something where like they're fighting, and I don't know how they could, but implement that, or like little Easter eggs in the background where it's like a kid's watching a show on the screen, or he's playing a video game, and it's the game. Like I love Easter eggs hidden in movies, and I feel like that would be really cool to see.
Yeah, well, all they have to do is just like a frame where the characters walk in from the left, and the enemies approach them from the right. It doesn't have to. This is why I said like recreate one of the levels from part 2, like shot for shot, because you're talking about like a 2 to 3 minute sequence at most. But it would be enough to pay tribute to the game series. So that's like they don't have to do much, but a little moment. It's not like the entire Doom movie took place in first person.
Oh no,
people would be
it was
exhausted.
only the end. It was a little bit at the end.
Yeah, exactly. So it's better to do it that way, I think. What was
What's
that,
up, Charles?
That first person seen that whole in that movie is the best part of the whole movie.
It was, and I think the biggest
like it's
reason
not
because of
the
the
games.
nostalgia, because it took the game into the movie, and I
Well,
feel like
there's
that's
one thing that
probably
I'll say
why.
about the Doom movie is that I don't think it gets enough credit, because I think people realized like what was the overall thing they were going for. The whole premise of that movie was them trying to recreate multiplayer. It wasn't like, because you bring all of these Marines in, and they're all working together to try to solve it, and then one player of course turns into a team killer. So I think it was more trying to go for that like multiplayer vibe rather than necessarily like go one for one with the story of like the main hero. So that's where I once I realized they were doing that, I thought, okay, now I get it. This is not going to be the movie that makes or breaks Doom, but it's just a fun take on the events of Doom that are not as like sacred in terms of continuity.
Yeah. No, Doom was incredible for what it was, especially at the time and everything else. But I hope to see more movies or series use the game that they're basing off of into their movies. Like obviously, if everyone started doing it, wouldn't be unique, but different like little things like that, or at least like if something's in the game that would be cool to have, but it doesn't mean much in a story, but like the fans would love, like let's say they make a Zelda movie and there was like a Game Boy on a shelf.
I hope you guys don't mind me dedicating a whole episode to it.
when that comes out, you and James take the podcast. Like I will literally just have the camera set up. It's just you two talking back and forth. But did you have any final points on your movie you hope to see?
No. That was everything. I wish them luck, and if they want my number, they can find me on LinkedIn.
Nice. Or they can find your YouTube channel down in the description below.
No, go to my LinkedIn page.
No, YouTube. Go to YouTube.
Go to my LinkedIn.
They made the movie based on Blaze. You know that the Axel fans will be pissed off.
Axel doesn't have any fans. I wouldn't worry about that. Don't worry about it.
Sure.
Like you're totally like, yeah, okay, I can see that being a thing, but nah, don't worry about it.
But do you know who does have fans, though? Halo has a massive fan base, okay? Airsoft.
Nerf.
Damn it! One day! I'll get it right one day. But Charles has seen episode 5 of Halo, and I will be jumping on this train very soon. I just got Paramount Plus for myself because I could not watch NCIS with Brittany on YouTube because he needs a subscription service. So I'll be joining in Charles here soon. But for now, Charles, let's hear about the recap of episode 5 of the Halo series on Paramount Plus.
Oh, let's start it off. This fucking episode is the best fucking episode they've done yet.
I want to go on. Man, like that right there just means my rant from last episode was like spot on. It was like, man, it was all good, and I was like, oh, the next episode wasn't great, and then it was like, boom, and man, I want to. Oh, so close.
My neck is hurting for you.
Oh man, I appreciate that.
I had to watch it.
And I'd appreciate it if we don't take that out of context.
I've been so busy last few days I didn't get to watch till this morning, and I freaking it was worth it because even though I'd seen bits of it from the episode on YouTube and everything, freaking I was glad I got to finally watch it myself because it was worth the fucking wait to finally see it because they finally did something to cover it for the first time since episode 1, and it was fucking epic as hell. And one thing I'm very happy about, even though it was probably my least favorite part of the whole episode, they still had to freaking shoehorn a bit with Quan in the episode, of course, because God forbid they go to episode with that fucking twat. And I swear to God, if she freaking does what I think they showed her possibly potentially doing, freaking killing Soren with his own gun just because freaking she owes him a debt, and she still can't seem to get it through her fucking head that whole revolution she's freaking going on and on about is freaking over with. Nobody's gonna freaking like her, even the ones that still freaking defend her for whatever reason. It's like freaking
No revolution is ever truly over.
There's no freaking revolution when you're the only one that's freaking fighting the damn thing. She's not
fair.
fucking Master Chief. She can't lone wolf fucking against an entire army. She doesn't like Noble Six either.
I mean, yeah. Now, just to make sure, is that the blonde hair girl in the previews?
No, freaking Quan's the one freaking that's the different haircut. She's the one that's been hanging around Soren since she was left with him. Freaking, I feel bad for Soren and he has to deal with her bullshit.
Okay, I wanted to make sure, like, so I keep seeing like little tiny things about the show because now I got Paramount Plus. Paramount's like, by the way, I pay $5 a month for this program and I still have ads. Can someone please tell me why that makes sense? I could pay $2 or $5 a month on YouTube, no ads, but Paramount Plus, no.
Do you go to a theater? They still have to show you previews.
But I like that though. Like I like going to a theater and seeing like little previews and stuff.
My freaking plan through Paramount Plus basically has minimal ads on it. Basically, you have to pay more so you have less ads.
Yeah, see that right there though. Like I don't now honestly, like honest to God, me and Brittany travel a ton. And so we're used to staying at hotels and stuff, and we're used to having the TV on. So we like the kind of ads that pop up. Like we actually do enjoy it because it gives us time to go get thing of water, get an extra slice of pizza, something like that. It gives you some time. Use the restroom, or for her, blow up the toilet. But you know, it kind of gives it gives that time. So I don't mind the ads, but it's still like, what the fuck? When you're watching a 20-minute show and you have 4 ad spots, and then you watch an ad at the end, and then it's like, next episode loading in 5. You could have fucking move past it. Move past it. But I'm sorry. I don't like paying a subscription and you still have the ads.
Yeah.
We'll be right back.
At the start of the episode, they basically referenced the whole thing of like they did in Halo Fall of Reach. Yeah, that was the book that they referenced to. They actually showed a bit of this show's version of how when Halsey first met John, she was because they showed her they didn't show Keith, but they showed her walking to this like freaking settlement or whatever, where a bunch of the kids are playing and for some reason while this lady was talking. And for some reason they have like John, Soren, and a bunch of other kids on this like really sketchy thing up there. You know, like those weird like bridges that you see at like playgrounds and everything that are like on. They're supposed to represent like those
rope bridges.
I don't know. It's like those weird wooden bridges you see in like Pirates of the Caribbean that are like very sketchy. That freaking they could fall any minute.
Yeah, a rope bridge.
Like that. For some reason, these kids were literally up there, high as fucking a tree, fucking trying to knock each other off or something like that. Freaking one of them, Soren almost falls to his death, and I'm like, what the fuck are you doing, lady? Not watching these kids while they're playing up there. Freaking Halsey is freaking young as hell, and she has way longer freaking blonde hair and everything watching this, and it's like, Jesus Christ, how long has it been since when this happened? And freaking, and Halsey's still freaking manipulative, bitch! But that's nothing, you know, she was the same way in the games. In the books.
Hide your kids, hide your wife,
And the
better
comments.
get out of
But the
sight.
freaking, my favorite
Podcast.
my favorite part of this whole episode was the huge ass fucking battle with the Covenant and the UNSC that happened after they find the relic, and it sends out this loud freaking noise that freaking all the Marines like personnel and everything have like literally seen screaming or holding their ears and everything because the sound it makes, but freaking Girl Maquis and freaking Chief just have no problems with it because I would assume it's probably because they're blessed ones and the freaking relics don't bother them for some weird reason. Like, well, everyone's screaming their heads off because of the sound this thing's making. Chief is just freaking hauling ass to this thing, look and see what the hell is going on. It's like, and he's like, what the frick? And he looks at this thing.
I guess that makes sense because I mean, think about it. He's also in space. Pressure's different and all that stuff. So if someone's not wearing
planet
the
at this point.
Well, yeah, but it's still like the Master Chief's armor. Like it makes sense on why he's able to just walk right. Unless you're talking about like he's not wearing his armor, that makes no fucking sense. But
Oh yeah, but I don't know if the other Spartans freaking were bothered by it. They didn't show them. When that
okay,
whole thing happened.
if they weren't bothered by it, more likely it was because the helmets and they don't have the sound waves properly going through.
Yeah. But it's like I just can't believe freaking how quickly the how freaking like one UNSC ship brought this freaking entire force just to pick up this relic, and they freaking somehow set up this little base on this planet within like it's freaking crazy how quickly they set up this temporary base and everything. To get really fucked up, but we're getting to that. But after freaking Chief had she had a conversation with Cortana, he was trying to find about more information about his parents and everything, about who he was and everything. Against freaking what Cortana was telling him, he grabs this thing. He has more memories, and he's actually sees when he was kidnapped and everything, and he sees a Halsey, and that she was one of the ones that was there that when he was taken and everything. He gets pissed off, and he tries to freaking literally Superman punch freaking her freaking skull in, and she had to have Cortana freaking take over and freaking put him like a freaking coma or something. And I was like, Jesus Christ, if he didn't have Cortana stop him, he would have killed your fucking head in, lady.
There's no punch like the Superman punch, because that's all telegraph. It's like it's not even about the pain; it's about sending a message, and that message is "fuck you."
But when Chief does finally wake up, that's when shit hits the fan, because he sees a Covenant cruiser, and he also sees a ship that the UNSC came in getting foily fucked up, and literally Covenant freaking destroyed that thing, and they have this one shot, this thing slowly coming down, and it's like, holy shit. So that's what it looks like when one of those UNSC ships comes down live action. Because we've seen ships get blown up in the games, but we've never seen them that close. Slowly coming down while falling apart after it got royally fucked.
I don't even know what to say. Because you're talking about a USCS.
UNSC.
Yeah, what she said. So you're
US
dealing
Postal
with,
Service.
so you have like that ship crashing down in real life, but it's not real life because it's CGI, because you can't legally crash a fucking spaceship in a random piece of land in the United States or probably
Well,
another
I mean,
planet.
Like, I'm sure that's happened. You just can't tell
Whoa,
anybody about
we
it.
don't know that. No none of it.
That zoom-in shot, though.
None of it. I was hoping there was a part where I could just like hurry up, zoom in, because these make my eyes look bigger than what they are. Okay, the meme's out of the way.
When the ship is going down, Chief is handled his assault rifle by Marine. I know, freaking all hell's breaking loose, because you have freaking jackals and grunts, and I would assume elites, but they only ever seen like one elite in the whole battle coming down. Freaking banshees are flying over, carpet bombing shit. And it's like you could clearly tell they had freaking the special effects explosions set up when they're going off as these banshees are flying over. But I freaking still was an epic shot though, because it literally looks like these freaking banshees are literally carpet bombing freaking Blaze doing the freaking flyover.
Right
and
on.
And also earlier at one point, Master Chief sent one of his Spartans to one of the two ships, which was one of the ones that I think like Miranda came in on, or was it freaking Halsey's ship? I forget, because freaking he's questioned if she was freaking mentally capable of being able to fight, because she was freaking acting kind of crazy and everything, talking to him before everything. But then freaking when her and Miranda freaking had a conversation while the fight was going on, freaking shit was going on. How Miranda tells freaking it's the sniper spot. By the way, freaking, the one that I said last time, freaking put that weird stuff in that she used to clean a sniper through her hair.
Mm-hmm.
It was like hair dye and everything.
Yeah.
Miranda tells this Spartan to get out there and freaking get your ass in gear and freaking start shooting shit, lady. Basically, and freaking Master Chief starts telling his Spartans to do what they do best, while the Marines and everybody are freaking doing their thing. That creepy motherfucker also, I really hope got killed when they freaking blew up the cave where all the non-combat personnel got sent to try to be safe and everything. But freaking out of everybody that got sent in the cave, I hope that motherfucker is the one person that got killed, because that guy is freaking weird. And when they were freaking having everybody go into this cave, he's like, the relic has to stay with me! And he's literally screaming this, and it's like, dude, shit's going to hell out here. Dudes are dying left and right. Freaking aliens are dropping out of the fucking sky, and you got ships flying over trying to bomb your ass. You're screaming about this thing. Spartans are trying to get the fuck off the planet. Freaking, and also freaking
hope
Jacob.
that guy dies. like a bitch.
God, I hope so. Also Captain Keyes freaking got involved for once. Freaking, he had this weird like version of a battle rifle, didn't have a scope on it. I don't know what kind it was, but it was another freaking fully auto rifle, some kind, and it kind of looked like a battle rifle, but it wasn't at the same time. I don't know. I just found it funny. He gave orders to this one Marine that was a sergeant. And as this Marine's going, he gets freaking blown the fuck up, and you see his body do a cartwheel. And Keyes is like, "Didn't I just tell you what the fuck to do?"
So ragdolling's a thing.
Dudes are getting sent flying all left and right, freaking out there, freaking what shit's going on.
That's Halo. That is 100% Halo right there.
And also, they actually showed, and you know how they mentioned about how one of the Spartans talked about what happens when somebody gets hit by a needler? They literally did that where Marina was on a freaking chain gun in the back of a warthog, was shooting that thing. He gets shot a couple times by a needler and turns into a freaking cloud of blood. But he missed, and I was like, rip that guy.
I'm actually happy they spent the extra time to actually CGI that and actually make that work. Because I mean, except I really hope in like the bonus features of it, eventually it's like bloopers, someone edited the confetti for the birthday skull. They sit there shooting it, just yay!
Also, the chief at times, if we can, like, this one that uses a sniper, the other ones are just shooting things with their pistols. It's like, don't you guys have primary weapons? Or is it just the Marines that are getting royally fucked out here that just have the battle rifles and shit?
I mean, are they at least hitting their target?
Not that I could tell.
Oh, okay, never mind. I was about to say, because I played Halo many times, and they don't hit their fucking targets with a gun. So, secondary, I mean, saved us some ammo, especially on Lasso.
Like, there was little bits where I seen, like, Marines were fighting the grunts and jackals, which look literally exactly like they do in the games and everything, and it was freaking epic as hell. Because they were fighting them and everything, but it's like, you guys aren't fucking doing shit while the Spartans are literally killing everything out here.
Maybe not paid
Yeah,
enough.
that is contextual though. Like, the Marines were always supposed to be outclassed by the Covenant, hence the need for the Spartans.
I just thought it was just random as
Yeah.
hell. One jackal just comes flying out of nowhere. He has an energy sword, and he's just freaking cutting Marines down left and right. It's like, when the fuck did jackals have energy swords?
Vietnam. I got nothing else.
Like, the sniper Spartan freaking almost gets killed by because she's getting she got shot a couple times and her shields are down because she was like having a PTSD. And I would see Marines dying and shit everywhere's around her and everything. Chief freaking decided to ignore Halsey after the one dropship got blown up, so him and the other two Spartans that were on the Warthog were supposed to take the relic to Halsey's ship. Chief was like, fuck that, I'm saving my freaking teammate. He skyjacks a Banshee, shoots the damn thing freaking a couple times somehow with his pistol. I don't know how the fuck that bullets went through the freaking part of the Banshee that usually would open up, and you skyjack that thing. I don't know. He literally guides that thing like a freaking kite, freaking into a phantom that was literally freaking pretty much killing everything that was what was left. The freaking phantom explosion was freaking holy shit, freaking levels of awesome. Because, like, you know how they blow up in the games? This thing literally exploded like a fucking building getting blown the fuck up. In a freaking Transformers movie.
Right on, right on. They definitely brought the fighting into it on episode 5. Nice. What else?
They also showed freaking Jackal like that was freaking bisected and was like crawling on its freaking. I don't know. Freaking, you literally see its freaking insides freaking before it dies. And Chief freaking sees that his teammate is lying on the ground and seemingly dead. He literally just freaking hucks his pistol at a grunt after shooting her last couple times because I assume it was the last couple rounds in the magazine. And then he's freaking after he rescues his woman that was on the ground, he picks up a shotgun as the Halo Reach model, freaking shotgun blast, freaking Covenant. And he also picks up a plasma pistol, shoots the elite that's beating up his teammate times with it, and then he starts throwing hands with the freaking elite, and then he just freaking curb stomps the freaking elite's head in after punching its skull in almost.
And that's where the Silverado comes in the background.
And Chief, after he freaking makes sure that his teammate is alive and everything, and his other Spartan teammates catch up, he tries to go after the relic because it's like a ways away from him. He's running towards this thing, and then this giant motherfucking brute just drops out of a fucking spear from Halo 1 in reach, and then freaking knocks Chief back. He flips a battle rifle after picking up, shoots at the brute as he's leaving the relic and everything. That doesn't do shit. Some random reason he flips it to fully auto and goes, tries to shoot at it. Oh, the ship is getting away, freaking fully auto. And it's like, this is the first time I've seen a fully auto battle rifle besides Halo Landfall, and that was kind of cool. But that didn't do shit. But I just thought it was epic seeing, for the first time, seeing a live action brute in this show. And that wasn't an Halo advertisement.
Definitely nice.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. But basically, this episode is, and also the last shot they see of the episode, they literally just have Chief freaking holding his helmet after everything. He's literally covered in covenant blood from the elite that he freaking practically crushed his skull and it's almost his fist, and then freaking curb stomped at his boot. Like, before the ship leaves, it literally shoots down a freaking pod with Marquis in it for some reason, because I would assume this is going to lead to her leading the Covenant to Reach and everything. Last shot they have there of the episode is just Chief looking down and seeing Marquis laying on the ground, pretending like she's injured and everything, because, you know, this is how she's going to trick the Chief and everyone in the UNSC to trust her before she never leaves the true colors and leads the Covenant to Reach and everything. And, like, literally when he's walking to Marquis, because he thinks it's another Covenant and everything, Chief literally picks up another plasma pistol and is ready to shoot freaking that thing at Marquis until he sees her. And pretty much that's how the freaking episode ended. It's just Chief looking down and freaking passed out, and I use quotations because she's really not passed out. She's faking it. You know, Marquis. Marquis is the human that works for the Covenant, by the way.
Yeah. No, unfortunately, women are good at faking it. I still can't tell.
That was pretty much the episode, and they're freaking this. Outside of the fucking bullshit part with fucking Quan, I swear to God, if she's freaking kills Soren, me and a lot of other people are gonna be fucking pissed.
Okay.
Soren literally didn't even want to be on this planet with her, but she pretty much forced him to go with her, and freaking now. And then she freaking tased him with that freaking weird lightsaber-looking taser thing that she swept off of freaking one of the dudes who tried to kill her and everything in the prior episode. And then she took Soren's gun, freaking pointed at him, and I'm like, when I see that, I'm like, you better not fucking kill him. He has a fucking family, bitch. And he didn't even want to be here. He's doing something for a friend of his. Protecting your sorry ass.
So what would you rate episode 5 of Halo?
I would have given it a 10 if it wasn't for the fucking bullshit freaking part with Quan, so I'm giving it a 9.
Okay, that is the highest rating out of all episodes. The recap, the first episode was a rank 7. The second one was a 3. The third and fourth one kind of got continued to be mixed up, but you said one was a 6 and the other one was a 7, or vice versa.
One was a 5, one was like a 7, I think.
Okay. One was a 5, one was a 7, but this one deserving a 9? Damn. Okay.
I mean, I just pulled up the clip from the fight scene. It did look pretty dope.
I can't wait to watch it. I can't wait.
Like I said, I'm mainly got a 9 because they finally showed the shit that I was actually excited for. They finally showed fucking fighting the Covenant for once!
Real.
Nerf.
And they also showed the shotgun, and I was happy about it, even if it was the Halo Reach model.
Okay, but who was right?
You.
Finally happened, folks. Finally happened.
I think that was just like
right.
who's less wrong. Probably.
I did not expect you to say real, and I accidentally answered it right. That's what happened.
And also, it was freaking cool to see that freaking live action brute, which I honestly looked like there was a mix of freaking Atriox and Tartarus from Halo 2 and Halo Infinite.
Nice. Like hearing about the Halo series just makes me want to play Halo. And also it doesn't help because before bed I always put on Achievement Hunter's lasso of Halo, so it doesn't help either. But I just got so used to like watching their stuff when I'd sleep, and I would wake up in the night with their Halo stuff playing, and now it's just like that's my go-to to go to sleep at night. That or a podcast from like Joe Rogan or Mr. Beast talking. But so that's definitely good. That's kind of the recap of the Halo series. I hope episode 6 fits Charles' standard. Now the next little thing I like to point out here is, Halo it's a big part of Microsoft. A big part of Microsoft. And did you know Halo Master Chief Collection is on Game Pass? So is Halo Infinite. So is Halo Reach. All the Halo games are on Game Pass. Free to play, in a sense. Well, did you know Microsoft is actually considering putting ads in their free to play games? That is going to raise some that's going to make some people mad. It's going to make a lot of people mad.
A lot of the Halo games be on the Game Pass. If one to Reach is on the Master Chief Collection, but since you can't even play the Xbox 360 version of Halo 3 anymore, it's online multiplayer because they shut that shit down. The only way you can play it now is through the Master Chief Collection.
Because they want you to stay on a platform that's easier for them to maintain and control versus having several servers for other games up at the same time. So at least now they only have one round of servers to keep up. But to kind of wrap it back in, so Microsoft is considering including ads in free-to-play games. After several reports, Microsoft is considering adding ads to their free-to-play games in the coming months. So this is already a decision that seems to be pretty lined up, but they have it specific on free-to-play games because they lose money for doing that because they let you play the games for free. We all get it. But they obviously want to put ads because they realize how much money they're losing, how much opportunity they're losing. Now, this is the biggest reason I wanted to bring this up is, for one, do we think it's right to have ads in games that we play? And also, if Microsoft does this, what stops other platforms from doing it? And that's what I'm terrified of, is what if Nintendo does it, but Nintendo's like, hey, let's have ads on our stuff. And we already know how ads work. They go off of what the system is detecting that you're interested in. That means they're going to start listening to you. That means they're going to start selling your data. That means they're going to start doing all that. I don't care if my data's sold. I don't give a fuck. It's going to be sold no matter what. Once you accept the Google terms of agreements, you're already going to be selling your data. Only difference is a lot of you don't even know it. But if Microsoft starts doing this, we're going to see a lot more of it, and we're going to see it on Sony. We're going to see it on Nintendo. It's going to start going. So how do you guys feel about Microsoft, at this moment, Microsoft adding ads in their free-to-play game in the coming months?
Maybe if they freaking stop putting out shit like Infinite and Vanguard, maybe they won't need the freaking ads in the freaking games, because freaking then the games actually being played and people be putting money into these games. But instead they keep putting half-baked bullshit freaking out that freaking get pissed off at, and then they take the sweet-ass time fucking putting shit in the game to actually freaking get people to play it still. Freaking you've seen, probably know about the whole issue with the freaking roadmap and everything with Infinite Jordan. Mm-hmm. Plus with the fact they're freaking thinking of putting a battle royale in that game. Do they want people to play it?
Because they're
battle royale. All right.
Yeah, they're in a battle royale to Halo Infinite in the coming seasons, to season 2 to season 3. They plan on adding that, but still not finished in the game. So they're still not going to be finishing everything else. Yep. So everything's being pushed again. But they released that they're going to be trying to make more game modes in there, all this stuff. They are adding Forge in, and that's been a big thing the community has been asking for. They actually are going to add Forge in their games.
After beta in August.
Well, yeah, like I said, it's all getting pushed out, but at least they're starting to add it. But like you just said, with them releasing half-finished games, and now if we want to play those half-finished games without paying the cost, now we're up to playing the games and getting ads and not being satisfied with the games. And to make this all better, more than likely we're going to have to pay another subscription or a higher subscription fee so we don't get ads on our games. It's just going to get brought up. So Joseph, how do you feel about the ads coming to a game near you?
Well, I don't feel so good about it being on one of the main console, so on Xbox, on PlayStation, or on Nintendo, because these are supposed to be the premium gaming services, and they should be the most seamless experiences available to the player. Now, for free-to-play, though, I recognize, okay, so a free-to-play game is going to be on a Microsoft system. The mobile game that I play, Battle Legion, You go to giantenemychannel.com. You can see me do commentary on it.
Link in the description.
Unless you're that guy writing Streets of Rage, in which case go to my LinkedIn. Even though none of my writing samples are there, but whatever. There are ads that are on the game, and if you watch the ad, it's 30 seconds, and then you get a boot, like you get like a unit, or you get some gold or something. So I don't mind, and I do come from a bit my e-commerce background, and my marketing background, my entrepreneurial background. So I don't mind watching ads because I like seeing what other marketers are up to these days, and if I find a certain technique that I think is interesting, I'll remember that. For instance, there's one called like frustration marketing, where I don't know if you'll have seen it, where there'll be a character and he's presented with a puzzle and he makes all of the wrong moves, resulting in his death. And it antagonizes the viewer, because the viewer thinks, how stupid are you? You pull that one first, and then the water comes down, and then you thaw out the lava, and then you drop the spikes, kills the cheetah, and the player's like, man, if I could play that game, I would do it right. And they do that intentionally to piss players off, and I think it's hilarious, but I hate it. So that's the sidetrack. So I don't mind ads in games, especially for more fledgling developers or for smaller teams who are looking for a way to generate revenue. If players want to play the game and they don't have the money to support it, at least they can suck it up for 30 seconds at a time, and they'll get a reward out of it. So if you make it optional and you assign a reward to viewing the ad, that is the absolute best way that you can handle it. If the players don't want to watch the ads, then don't interrupt their playtime. That is when it's going to go way too far.
I agree. So I actually do play mobile games from time to time. Shocking. But they're like brain health games. So it's like it helps educate your brain, keep your brain more focused, and make sure your hand-eye coordination doesn't get messed up. So it's a lot of like little piano games to Sudokus and stuff. But after every round, I get an ad. Not a big deal. If I want a special bonus, like an extra try or something like that, I could sit there and watch an ad to get that. Like those sides, I truly understand, and if anything, I support, because at least then you're playing a free game that 30 seconds, like you said, it's 30 seconds. It's really not that long. The issue that I think I would have is if it starts coming to consoles, because how is those ads going to work? After a round of Halo Infinite, is the whole entire server just going to go, and now we have you here. Let's talk about our new idea. We're going to slave kids overseas. Like, we don't want to have ads on a game we're playing on console, but...
Isn't picking a UFC game or a sports game that freaking would show that bullshit.
Or they start getting influencers to just join pubs. Like, hey, so we're gonna take point A. Hey, by the way, guys, you know that game Raid? That game's sick. You guys wanna play?
Oh man, I'm so happy we're playing Halo Infinite. Hey, but guys, while we're in between games, hey, did you know Raid Shadow Legends? That's on mobile?
So I know you're gonna respawn in 10 seconds, but you know you're not gonna respawn in real life. That's why Cedar Oaks Funeral Services is here for all of your death-related needs.
Hey, we heard that we heard you might be going through a rough time. So while you sit there and you respawn, let's talk to you about BetterHelp therapy. Like, I get the idea that it could work, but like you said, if there's not a benefit to the viewer or the control player, why would we want that? And I understand, like, you could just pay for the game, but a game as bad as Halo Infinite at the current moment in state, why should we have to sit there and pay the $60 to play a game that is half finished just so we don't get ads? Like, I do get like the side of, on mobile games it works. On PC you can have little pop-ups. You know, I get it. You can make that work. Maybe if you die in 7 days to die, guess what your punishment now? A 30-second ad. Because you just died in the game. Guess what? Now your punishment is a 30-second ad. And then the game still plays out, it's doing its thing. You know, in Mario Kart, in between rounds, okay, you're fine. If it's a free-to-play game, then it's like, hey, in between rounds, though, here's a word from our sponsor.
Yeah, like here's I think
King
that
of
is one of the
Kong.
key differences too is that so on a mobile game, this is the phone. I didn't
Mhm.
buy the phone to play games. I buy the phone to stay in touch with people.
Yep.
And it just so happens to be a multi-purpose device. And okay, so I'm playing a game on it. All right, there's ads here. I don't care.
Yeah.
In fact, I typically view the ads for the reasons that I have stated. But I paid money for a video game console so that I can have a premium video game playing experience. I don't want to have to deal with ads in these games if they're involuntary.
Yeah. If it forces you to have to like watch the ad to just play the game, I don't feel like that is right. But obviously, when it's all said and done, it is Microsoft. They get the final say. Their team obviously said, hey, we should do something about this. The article, we will actually make sure to link this down in the description below so you guys can read it. But this is an article that just came out on the 17th of this month. And they state that, the free-to-play games, their powerhouse is Microsoft. They want to add a different way so they can make money off it because they pay X amount to put it on a Game Pass. And now they're saying that there might be a Game Pass Premium to hide the ads. And so it can go on and on and on. But when it's all said and done, though, that means we are definitely going to expect ads in the future. Now, I hope they take people's suggestions like ours, where make it to where you earn something. Like, let's say Fortnite, for an example. Let's say you play a round of Fortnite, and you're like, man, but I really want that stupid cosplay. I want that fucking duck, man. Watch an ad. Get 30 coins. And now, guess what? You got 30 coins. You watch about 8 more ads. Have a cooldown on the ads. Boom. Now you just earn enough from watching ads. Now you can get that cosmetic. Do something like that. Benefit the person for watching the ads that's paying you to, play the game in a sense, but it's obviously being more effective to Microsoft. Like, I feel like if they done something like that, they can make it more effective. Now, I'm not into the bigger business. I don't know how certain numbers need to run, but I do. So there's a few mobile games that actually pay you to play. And a lot of them are like, they'll build up your amount so high, and then they'll like cap you. And then there's some that don't. But how they make the money from it is they have ads on there. So they would sit there and they would play ads, so you can have to put more in. Now you, instead of getting $1 a win, you now get a penny a win. So now you're watching more ads, so they go up. And for those of you who don't know, mobile ads actually pay 3 times more than a typical Google ad does. So let's say GTA 6 sponsors Logan Paul for a video. Let's say they pay him $10,000 for it. But Raid Shadow Legends, let's say same popularity, same everything else. Because it's a mobile game, they're easily going to pay like $30,000, $20,000 to get him to run it. And the reason is because mobile games are more playable than a console game. And that is why they make more money on the ads than anywhere else. That's why if you have a mobile game reach out to you, it's a bigger deal than having GTA 5 has released their new DLC and now they're sponsoring me. It's not a big of a deal. So mobile ads are definitely better in making money and using money, because we don't think about this. More people out of the United States and out of, I don't want to actually name countries, but like India, they don't play consoles. They really don't play console games. They do play mobile games, and they play a shit ton of mobile games. Dead by Daylight. I've never known anyone to play Dead by Daylight mobile, but there is a huge number of players playing that game, and a lot of them are out of the country, playing on their phones and stuff like that, where that's their console. They don't have consoles. They don't have access to consoles.
One point that I hadn't thought about as well is that it's just it's much more accessible, these mobile games. So you're gonna have a higher click-through rate, because if somebody's interested in the game, they could install it and be playing it on their own in the next 5 minutes.
Yep.
They might not like it, but at least they got the game on their system, and now there's a chance that they'll get hooked.
Yep. There's a game, Granny. Granny. It's a horror game. But it's free to play on your phone. You can sit there and play for free. It has ads every time you die. but people play it. It has millions of downloads, highly rated game. Five Nights at Freddy's are now on mobile. You can play it on mobile, and they're just more accessible on tablets, on phones. It's more accessible to sit down and play a mobile game for 5 minutes and load up a console, clear out the TV, clear out a room, sit down and play. I could play Call of Duty Mobile on my phone. That is actually pretty fun, but I could play Call of Duty Mobile on my phone, and in between work schedules, in between a lunch break, easily could do it.
I have my game running this entire episode. Like, it's a passive game. It just plays itself.
Yeah.
So all I have to do is just like, swipe the screen and off it goes.
Yeah.
So for those of you wondering why I periodically look down, that's why.
But there's another game. The one that made millions. Plants vs Zombies. That started as a mobile game, and that thing made millions of dollars with the no ads on their play, and it was free to play for the longest time. And I think right now it's still free to play, but now you have ads. But like that game made millions, so it's like I think ads will be good to an extent. I just they need to market it the right way to keep viewers on. But I also understand this too. Guess what's gonna happen either which way? Either A, Microsoft's gonna make a shit ton of money off the ads. B, Microsoft is going to force people to pay a subscription fee so they don't get ads. Now they make shit ton of money off that. Or they force people to buy a game on their console. Now they make shit ton of money on the game themselves. No matter what, Microsoft comes out ahead, and the audience and the fan base will not leave. No matter what.
By the way, there's one other key difference between like advertising on the television back in the day. I suppose they still do it, but TV ads versus YouTube ads or Google ads, or basically video ads, is that normally if your video ad is skippable, if the user doesn't skip, then the ad goes back into queue. It's not paid for because the user wasn't engaged. So the advertiser at least can rest easy knowing that the only time they actually pay for their advertisement is if a user watches it long enough to count as engagement. Now, accidents happen. The ad might just run on its own. I might be away from my computer. I come back, the ad played, and they think I'm engaged. So unfortunately, there's still a lot of misinformation. The data doesn't accurately reflect what they think it is, but it's still a pretty good system. In TV, it was never like that. The ads would run, and you basically had to pray to Jesus whether or not they actually like saw the ad or not. And so there was this expectation that, well, the commercials are running, I guess we'll see if something else is on, or we'll go to the washroom, or something like that. Now, in this context, I don't know what they're going to do, but my gut is telling me that they're going to make them unskippable, which means that the advertisers are actually going to lose out. If the ads are skippable, at least the advertisers will know that they're only being engaged by people who actually care about the ad. So in order for it to be healthier long term, they should go with that. But I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't, just because they realize that this is premium space. Players are engaged. They want to play the game, and they will sit and wait through it with their teeth grit to get back to gaming.
Yeah, 100%. So I think there's good ways they could go about this, and I also think there's bad ways they can turn. But no matter what, I feel like they're gonna make money. They're gonna lose money, but they're not gonna lose a fan base from it. I hate to say it, but they're not going to lose it because eventually, guess what? PlayStation's going to do it. Nintendo's going to do it. Everyone's going to do it.
And here's hoping. My final thing on it is here's hoping that by opening up a new way to generate revenue, it encourages developers to perhaps take more chances on certain game ideas. Maybe they'll be able to port a game over that they couldn't justify before based off their previous model. So if it leads to more games, then that would be the greater good. But again, we'll see.
Yeah, we'll definitely see if there's any more updates on that. We'll talk about it on the next following podcast. Charles, do you have any final thoughts about the ads coming to Microsoft?
I better not see any fucking ads in the Pokemon game ever in the future, because otherwise I'm gonna be really fucking pissed.
Probably not on Microsoft.
No, probably not on the Microsoft side. We won't see them because I think for the first few weeks, we're not going to actually see paid ads. We're going to see Microsoft made ads.
Right.
to make sure the fan base isn't actually going to leave, because they still have to worry about that, especially with the recent flops in their area. So I don't think we'll have to worry about too many paid
I
ads
still
at the
remember when
moment.
I saw the Symphony of the Goddess, which was like the Zelda musical symphony. But we saw it at the Sony Center. I think somebody got fired for that.
I'm pretty certain they probably
Yeah.
did.
Yeah.
So to kind of wrap up that topic, we want to hear your opinions in the comments of how you actually feel about the ads being brought to the consoles. Maybe you actually aren't a big fan of it. Maybe you were actually totally fine with it. Please let us know. We'd love to hear your feedback. And yeah, let's talk about it. Now, our podcast is running a little bit ahead, or not ahead, a little behind, to say the least. So we're going to jump into our last little statement here, and then we're going to go ahead and end it. So real fast, I bet the people who are watching the podcast right now already just found out that Elon Musk has officially made a massive purchase in his portfolio, and this could mean a lot of things for the near future. But Elon Musk has officially buys Twitter for $44 billion. That's, I'm sorry, this year is full of big purchases from massive people. But so this was one of the things that I noticed whenever Elon Musk was trying to buy Twitter, is he wants to make an edit feature so he can edit your tweets. Everyone hated that. Everyone said you should not be allowed to edit your tweets. You should, if you can edit it, it should only be in the first minute of posting. So you could be like,
Yeah, like a 10-second undo button. Like,
yeah,
okay,
like
okay,
an
hang on.
undo. Be
This
like,
was
whoa,
too
whoa.
hot of a take. I got it. No, I can't do this.
Yeah, or you fucked up spelling because you're retarded, like me, and you've just messed up something, like you spelt the with the capital H. Like, you're like, I need to fix that, so you can at least like go back and fix it. Or like you said a hot take or something like that, or maybe you posted a half naked photo of your wife and you're like, no, I meant me.
Oh, it's too hot. Oh, damn. Call the
That was too
police
hot.
and the fireman. It's too hot.
I love the Charles sound effect there. So, what do you guys think it's a good thing Elon Musk has made a purchase for Twitter? Do you think it's a bad thing?
Yeah, I mean, all of the people that boil my blood on a regular basis are all pissed off at this. So the fact that they're all pissed off makes this a very happy day for me. So I very much am glad that Elon Musk does this. Wealthy people, they tend to be pressured a lot to, like, give their money, whether it be by way of taxes, which, by the way, doesn't work because they can pay people to subvert that, so that's just not going to work. It's like, and by the way, you don't want to punish people for being rich. You want to incentivize people to be rich through doing something worthwhile. You want to punish people who got rich through illicit means, of course. So all of that aside, Twitter, I've been on Twitter since August 2009, and I used to enjoy it as just kind of the same reason why I would enjoy Vines. Just condense a message. And as a writer, I like the challenge of trying to convey my point in as few characters as possible. I was somewhat irritated when they increased the character limit, but that's okay. The spirit of Twitter still lived on. But I typically try to keep politics out of it, but I think it's got to be brought up here. I was very much unhappy with the way they treated a lot of people on the right side of politics.
Yep.
The right wing. If you're right wing, your days on Twitter were basically numbered. And Twitter's not supposed to be about that. Twitter's supposed to be a cesspool of vile and toxicity from both sides, and is very much leaning towards the left. And the left has this thing where they think their point of view is like the center and is therefore reality. But it's usually only one side of an argument, and they view the other side of the argument as just pure crap. And the right has the same problem, but the right doesn't dominate Twitter. So I can't chastise them for it. So Elon Musk taking it over is supposed to realign it to a neutral platform, so that both sets of ideas can go at it. That's what it's supposed to be. And of course, the people on the left and we're all complaining about it, and it just amuses me to see them pissed off because they are some of the most smug assholes on the planet. So fuck them.
100%.
And I am so looking forward to being able to go back to say whatever stupid idea comes to my mind, such as gamers are becoming a
lightly.
gamer is one step closer to becoming a pedophile. Why? Because gamers get used to the idea of early access. Find me on Twitter, folks.
Oh, that was okay. Okay, that was good. That was good. Oh my god, that was really good.
Yeah.
So now with kind of jumping a little bit back into the politics side. So I don't actually have. I'm like the most neutral person you're ever going to talk to because I actually understand both sides. My mom didn't raise me to like one color or the next. She didn't raise me to vote on one side or the other. Vote on who makes sense. That's how I see politics is I vote on whatever side would actually benefit the country, we the people, not we one person. Now, with that also being stated, so I'm hoping like you, having Elon control in it has the equal grounds. I'm really hoping so because no matter what, it's not freedom of speech. That's one thing I want to get out of the way right now. Having a Twitter does not mean freedom of speech because once again, that's not how it works. But the fact that you should be able to go on there, state your mind, state your opinion, and be good. And if you get people trashing on you, guess what? That's what happens when you sat there and spoke. You obviously can't say, I'm gonna fucking kill you, Elon. Like, you can't say that on Twitter. You can't say that in person. So don't fucking say it. Like, that's how it should work.
Yeah.
So when it's all said and done, I'm really hoping to see the positive come out of this. The only negative side I could see is people leaving Twitter to the point where he paid $44 billion on Twitter and then he sees a massive decline in people on the platform. And now he can't try to make better technology like the new phone coming out or launch the satellites and stuff like that. I want to see him do so much great things. I'm really hoping so. I'm hoping to see people like Elon actually continue to do good in the world and making eco-friendly cars and making things better.
It does baffle me to see how people just like loathe the guy.
Yeah.
Like I know he's got like his family history. I understand that there's some unpleasantness to it. So I get that. Like no one's perfect.
Mm-hmm.
But and what else can a man do? Like try to put people into space. He built a flamethrower, electric cars. He tries to goes on Saturday Night Live, as a show of goodwill to people who clearly don't like him. Like you have to accept that if you want to get along, you're gonna have to deal with the fact that no one is perfect.
That right there, no one's perfect. I mean, when it all said and done, you had people trying to do good, and guess what? Go by their family line, they weren't perfect. They were probably racist, really recently. You go by like people's past, they're not perfect, but they try to be better. And we forgive people. We let murderers go free all the time. We let pedophiles be hidden by the FBI. Like, we sit there and we let all this go through, but we're going to hate on a guy who's actually doing good, who's trying to make cars affordable that actually help the earth. We're trying to get off the earth. Now, that part I don't quite get, but we're trying to, he's helping people, like, actually explore.
Well, there's resources in space that we can bring back. And
like rocks.
Any precious rocks, shiny rocks.
You're true.
But
You're
like
right,
I used to be like against space travel a lot when I was younger because it's just like we have problems here, we should be solving those problems, and blasting off into space is one of the ways to solve that problems. Is our species is cursed with conflict. We are always going to be fighting something, whether it's each other. Or it's another thing. So we need to find something to actually work together on, and colonizing a new planet might be the first step towards antagonizing an alien race, and then the aliens come after us, and then we all start working together.
And that could be the next step for we might be seeing Halo in real life, and that could be a great step. But when you already have someone that said, hey, I'm going to try to do something good for the world and good for the earth, and then do it, and then be like, okay, we done it, we made a full electric car, we finally did it, it finally works, it doesn't blow up on you randomly, we have good insurance, so if something does happen, you can get it replaced. Now let's figure out how we can send people up to Mars. Like, yeah, he fucking did it, and people are still going, well, how about you fix the problems on Earth? He is! He just made electric cars, and now he's trying to make them for under $20,000. Like, he's doing it! He has payment plans. Like, people antagonize me. But hey, soon you can complain about it on the new Twitter. So, maybe we'll call it eTwit. I like it. I love it. Charles, what's your opinions on Elon Musk buying Twitter for $44 billion? And don't you dare play a sound bit of Leroy Jenkins.
Who the hell cares?
I mean, I'd like to hear it out of your mouth.
Honestly, if it does, I don't really care. I don't use Twitter.
Neither do I. I
So
don't
as far
use
as thinking,
Twitter.
hey,
I use it a bit.
happening in real life.
You posted today.
Oh yeah, I did. I wonder if I got the piss taken out of me for that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't use Twitter either. If Halo was a real life thing, besides like the elites, you know, I'd be happy about that. Just the suits themselves. But as it goes for Twitter, honestly, like when it's all said and done, I don't care. I'm just hoping it calms down the whole politics nonsense. I will. If I get big, I will probably have to use Twitter because let's be honest, if you want someone like Mr. Beast to notice you, tweet at him. You will probably get noticed. But with that kind of wrapping up our podcast and our segments and stuff like that, I do want to state one last thing is we already talked about it a little bit at the beginning, but it's 2022. It's time to get in shape. Hello the HelloFresh. I'm joking. I'm not gonna throw an ad at this. But legit, it's 2022. If you want to start getting in better shape, maybe not weight, maybe it's mental self. Seriously, take the time you need and actually go outside, get a walk and do the little things. Make you happy. If it's playing video games, sit down, play video games. If it's making a podcast, start making a podcast. If it's, you know, the little things that make you better throughout the day, do it. Take time for yourself and do it. Now, speaking of people who take time for themselves, Charles, where can people find you?
You can find me at my YouTube channel, CG the Lone Wolf, where I can show people that I do have proof that I got a legendary before we started the show the other day.
Nope, hacking, fake. it's all fake, ran by the government. It's all fake. Burn it all down. Joseph, where can people find you?
Well, if you happen to be writing the Streets of Rage movie, you can go to linkedin.com/IN/Joseph-Iani-2245934. And to everybody else, you can go to giantenemycompany.com. Get a sense of who I am and what I do. And if you want to see my YouTube content, you go to Giant Enemy Channel on YouTube. You can also find a couple of my TikToks, which is at Seph, S-E-P-H, missed out on Vine, all one word. You know what? I'm just going to go for the full thing. So my Instagram is Joseph Iani. Thanks you for waiting. And then my Twitter is Tiny Enemy Shrimp. I don't know if my Zanga blog is still going.
No, we're cutting you off there. We're cutting you off there. He went too long. He didn't read the fucking script. He was doing so good. Went off the rails.
I
He found-
put on my glasses.
he found a way to go off the rails. He did it, guys. But if you want to find yours truly, we gotta cut him off. We gotta cut him off the podcast. He's dressing up now. So if you want to sit there and find yours truly, Jordan, go to Skull Hunter Games. That's anywhere you can find it. TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook. It's all Skull Hunter Games. That is where I'm at. That is where you can find me. And usually some of these guys as well. And if you want to go find the podcast, it's anywhere you can search up Skull Hunter Podcast. See how they're familiar. Skull Hunter Games, Skull Hunter Podcast. If you watch one, you should watch them all. If you are interested in watching the audio version or the video version, just literally search up anywhere. It's anywhere you can find your podcasting needs. And now even on Spotify, thanks to Anchor, our sponsor. Anchor has a new segment where now you can upload your video podcast directly to Anchor, and Anchor do all the distribution for you. They do not have it connected to YouTube or Facebook yet, but hopefully we're going to see that soon. But now you can upload your video podcasts directly to Anchor, and they will take the audio out. I'm actually excited because we just used it the first time today. So if you are listening to the podcast today and you found out that you had the video on Spotify, let us know. Thank you, Anchor, for sponsoring the podcast. Boys, we did it. Another successful podcast. Charles, yell us out. Goodbye, everybody. I'm gonna ride off on my bike, folks. Hey, bye, everybody. There's not enough Safety first, kids.